On the Channel 3 News this morning, an armed standoff with state police shuts down Route 7 in New Haven. The countdown is on. President Obama is touching down in Vermont in just a few hours. We'll have a preview of the big visit. And just how unusual is it for a president to pay a visit to the Green Mountains? Kagan Harsha is on the UVM campus this morning to take us on a trip down memory lane. Good morning, Kagan.
That's right. Good morning, Molly. It's been a long time since a president visited Vermont, 17 years to be exact, but there have been more than 20 presidential visits over the years, everyone from James Monroe to JFK to George Bush. I'll have more on that, plus a preview of Obama's visit today, coming up in just a few minutes.
From WCAX, Vermont's most trusted news source, this is the Channel 3 News.
Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock. I'm Molly Smith.
And I'm Gary Sadowski.
And it's Friday, which means it's time for a little bit of fun. So, Gary, whenever Tim Tebow's involved, it's big news. This sandwich is no exception. It's called the Jet Bow, named after the New York Jets, new backup quarterback. And where else could they claim such a concoction but the Carnegie Deli, known for their ridiculous portions? Now, this bad boy is made with white bread and mayonnaise, which is a salute to Tebow's wholesome, all-American boy reputation.
Yeah, oh boy. Oh, keep stacking it higher.
You think you could eat it?
No.
We could split it probably.
Yeah, split it over a week.
Okay.
Maybe. Wow. And yeah, Jets, not Giants.
Jets, sorry.
Seems right. Here's what's going on in the weather. We're right at the freezing mark here in Burlington, 32, mostly cloudy skies. Now, we still have a little bit of that weather left over from yesterday east of the Green Mountains, so some some clouds in the morning and a few flurries. Otherwise, turning mostly sunny for the rest of the day, 38 to 45 for
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Who can complain? All right, thanks, Gary. Well, the big day has arrived. President Obama will touch down in Burlington in just a few hours. This is his first visit to the Green Mountains as Commander-in-Chief. Kagan Harsha is joining us live this morning from the UVM campus, where the president is set to speak later today. Good morning, Kagan.
Good morning again, Molly. Well, as you can see, things are pretty quiet right now. Now, 1791, the one catch there, Molly, is they were here before they were elected president. So that doesn't exactly count as a presidential visit.
Thanks for the full disclosure. That's what we're here for, and we will check back in with you a little bit later. Thank you.
All right, sounds good.
Well, in other news, an armed standoff closed part of Route 7 in New Haven for 7 hours last night. Firefighters detoured traffic between Route 17 and Town Hill Road. Around 5:30 yesterday evening, police were called to a mobile home in the area for the report of an armed man holed up inside. More than 24 police responded to the scene. At one point, police say the man noticed our cameras and made some kind of threat. An officer said he was worried for our photographer's safety and told him, quote, "Get out of the line of fire." The man eventually surrendered to police. His name has not yet been released, but police say he was drunk at the time. 2 people are in custody in Rutland this morning after police say they broke into the Midway Mobile on South Main Street. Police got the call just before 10 last night. The crooks made off with the entire cash register and the keys. Authorities tracked them down a short time later. We will have more details on this developing story as they become available. Well, did you buy your ticket yet? The Mega Millions jackpot has hit an all-time high, $500 million, and they picked the winner tonight. And when you're talking about that kind of money on the line, everybody is rushing out to get a ticket. Normally, the Stewarts in Rutland sells about a dozen Mega Million tickets a day, but store owners say they have sold more than 200 since Wednesday.
Well, I figured I'd give it a shot one time. They usually say you buy one ticket and you win, so here I am.
Full disclosure, folks, after taxes, the prize only ends up being about $389.9 million. Still, not bad.
Well,
I take it. I mean, I'd still take it.
I guess you could find that useful. Yeah.
I think we could both put some use to that money, for sure.
Well, we're actually looking for a fairly nice day today.
All right, Gary. We're off to what looks to be a beautiful weekend, but is it going to stick around?
It is not going to stick around for the whole weekend. It looks like the latter half of the weekend is looking a little bit wet again. And, well, we're going to have mostly sunshine. Yeah, and, you know, again, March going out pretty much like a lamb.
Like a lamb. A pretty cute little lamb?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Gary. Well, in the wake of an alleged murder, one woman now says Alan Prue also preyed on her teenage daughter. We'll have the details after the break, and the St. J community is thinking pink in Melissa Jenkins' memory. Stay with us. The murder of Melissa Jenkins has stunned the St. J community, and now a neighbor of one of the suspects says Alan Prue preyed on her teenage daughter. Jennifer Redding sat down with her and has the story.
State police.
A memorial service to honor Melissa Jenkins is set for later today. It will be at the St. Johnsbury Academy in the Alumni Memorial Gymnasium. It begins at 4 p.m. and is open to the public. Some of Jenkins' fellow teachers are handing out pink ribbons in her honor.
We know how much she meant to this community, and we want to just make sure we give as many people showing the spirit as they can. You want me to leave some? Or yeah, if you want to.
They're to be worn in memory of Jenkins and in support of her grieving family. Friends are calling for people across the state to wear pink in remembrance of Jenkins. Well, coming up, we open up the news vault to a scary day in D.C., an attempted assassination on then-President Ronald Reagan. Stay with us. We are hours away from our first presidential visit in more than a decade, but 31 years ago today, our president suffered a serious scare on the streets of D.C. Then President Ronald Reagan was leaving a labor convention when he was shot at by John Hinckley Jr. The 25-year-old took aim at him and fired off 5 shots, one hitting Reagan's chest, but he did survive the shoot. His press secretary was hit in the head by a shot and was seriously wounded, but also survived the attempted shot. Hinckley was 25 at the time and was found not guilty later for reasons of insanity. I just couldn't believe how close the cameras were in that scenario. Security is so beefed up now, you would never be that close to the president.
I don't think so.
Coming up, Burlington doctors are studying a less invasive heart valve procedure, and a new autism study says the condition is much more prevalent than doctors once thought. Health Watch is next. A new report by the CDC says 1 in every 88 children has autism. Health officials say the increase in diagnosis largely comes from better screening. These new numbers mean autism is nearly twice as common as officials said it was only 5 years ago, and likely affects roughly 1 million children and teens in the United States. A nationwide clinical study has landed right here in Burlington, and now doctors at Fletcher Allen Healthcare are replacing heart valves without major open heart surgery. Bridget Berry-Caswell explains.
Just 5 weeks ago, and even the simplest tasks proved daunting for Carol Boone. She was weak and couldn't breathe.
It was very restricting. I had trouble getting around the house, walking from A to B. I would run out of breath.
That's because her aortic valve was calcified. It looked like this.
This is a very diseased aortic valve. If I frame it, you can see this bright thing here. This is thickened valve that's not opening normally.
But not anymore. On February 22nd at Fletcher Allen Healthcare, Boone became the first patient in Vermont to receive a new aortic valve via an experimental method called transcatheter aortic valve implantation, or TAVI for short. Right now, most patients get new heart valves made of pig pericardium through open heart surgery, but not everyone is eligible. It's a major operation.
You know, there's still a subset of patients who are just too high risk for surgery, and this is where this new procedure comes into play. It offers them a new therapy for their disease process.
And that's because TAVI is much less invasive. No incision in the chest, no heart-lung machine. It is similar.
When we come back, we'll head out to UVM to check in with Kagan, where he will compare Obama's expected visit to the last presidential sighting in the Queen City. Coming up, countdown to the president's visit to Vermont. What are Obama's plans for his time here in Burlington? Former Vermont governor and presidential candidate Howard Dean weighs in on campaign fundraising today, and a big fire tears through a New York plant. But before we get to those stories, Gary joins us with a quick look at how this Friday is looking for us.
It's actually looking pretty good, although we still have a little bit of yesterday's weather left over, mainly east of the Green Mountains this morning. Right now in Burlington, we're mostly cloudy. We're at 30 degrees, and what we're going to see is some clouds, even a few flurries east of the Green Mountains, but then turning mostly sunny for the rest of the day. 38 to 45 will be the highs.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gary. Well, the big day has arrived. In just a few hours from now, President Obama will make his first visit to the Green Mountain State as president. Kagan Harsha is live at UVM, where the president is set to speak later today. Good morning, Kagan.
Good morning again, Molly. Well, I'm actually standing outside the Ira Allen Chapel, and that's President Obama will be on a much tighter schedule, but I'm sure the folks at UVM are hoping he takes a few minutes to mingle with the crowd. That's unlikely, though, Molly. Well, you never know, Kagan. I'm sure there'll be a lot of cell phones in the air snapping every shot they can get. I'm sure. All right, we'll talk to you a little bit later, Kagan. Thanks so much. In other news this morning, a big fire tore through the Alcoa West plant near Messina. The fire broke out around 3 yesterday afternoon, and no one was hurt, but about 3/4 of the roof was up in flames at one point. The smoke was visible for about 10 miles. Crews from 6 area departments worked to put it out. A spokesperson for Alcoa says a faulty aluminum chip maker is to blame. 1,400 people work at the plant. It's not clear if those jobs will be impacted by the fire. It's back to the bargaining table for teachers in the school board in the Rutland Southwest Supervisory Union. A federal mediator got both sides to continue contract negotiations scheduled for Tuesday afternoon. Teachers have voted overwhelmingly to strike on Wednesday unless a deal is reached. They've been working without a contract for 2 years. Well, stay with us. Gary is up next with a look at the weather, and in just a few minutes, we'll hear from the woman who will introduce the president later today. All right, it's Friday. Everybody's waking up with a smile on their face. Are you giving them a reason to keep that smile on their face?
Yeah. You know, yesterday was one of those days we hoped for some sunshine. It just did not work out. It was a pretty glum-looking day. So, yeah, you know, really the next couple of days looking pretty good.
April showers. May flowers. March came in like a lion, going out like a lamb. Lambs and lions eating the flowers. What are we going to do? All right, everybody. Well, stay with us. We're going to check back in with Kagan. He's live at UVM with more about the person who will introduce the president to his supporters later today. A shootout for the Bruins, and Hockey East wants an even dozen. Scott Fleischman has more in our sports wrap.
The UVM men's hockey.
Highs.
One of those days where it looks a lot nicer outside than it actually is.
Yeah, it's a little on the cool side.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. Well, it's been 17 years since a sitting president has come to town, and Burlington residents don't know what to expect. So we're going to check back in with Kagan and take a look at the past presidential preparations for the big arrival. Stay with us.
Now, I don't know what you would serve President Obama for lunch, Molly, but I can guarantee you one thing. It'd be better than what Gary would feed him. I'm imagining, you know, carrots, a plate of lettuce, cardboard. That's Gary's food preferences, so it's got to be better than that. Gary is a health freak, but I would probably go with a salad. My mom has this awesome recipe that every time I make it, everybody likes. So President Obama can have a salad at my house.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you have to keep him healthy, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, stay with us, folks, because we have special visitors from the Texas Roadhouse making some Lent-friendly recipes. On the Channel 3 News this morning, an armed standoff with state police shuts down Route 7 in New Haven. We meet a super senior who keeps everyone on their toes at a southern Vermont thrift shop. Plus, the countdown is on. President Obama will touch down in just a few hours. Kagan Harsha is on the UVM campus this morning with a preview. That's right, Molly. The president's visit is now about 7 hours away, and there's a lot of excitement in the air. You can't see it this morning, but President Obama isn't the first one to visit, the first president to visit. The last time we saw a commander-in-chief was when Bill Clinton was here 17 years ago. We'll have more on today's visit and a trip down memory lane coming up in a few minutes.
From WCAX, Vermont's most trusted news source, this is the Channel 3 News.
Good morning. It's now just after 6 o'clock. I'm Molly Smith.
And I'm Gary Sadowski.
Nice. Well, it's Friday. That means we're going to have a little bit of fun. And whenever Tim Tebow is involved, Gary, it's big news. And this sandwich is no exception. It's called the Jet Bow, named after the New York Jets' new backup quarterback, Tim Tebow. And where else would they claim such a concoction but at the Carnegie Deli, known for their ridiculous portions and with celebrity ties. Now, this bad boy is an exception to most of their signature sandwiches. It's made with white bread and with mayonnaise. It's a salute to Tebow's wholesome, all-American boy reputation.
Wow.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, you know, they were stacking up. They were working on the third story there, I think. And
oh, you know
probably
what?
Going higher.
You said that you'd split it with me, but we'd have to like cut it up for daily portions.
Split it with everybody who works here.
If I wasn't a journalist, I would be a competitive eater. That was my second career choice.
Oh, good choice. Well, let's take a look and see what's going on right now outside from our Skywatch 3 camera. There you go. A lot of clouds still, but we're getting some serious breaks in that cloud cover. 30 our current temperature, and the rest of the day, still a few clouds, even a few flurries lingering east of the Green Mountains, but then we'll turn mostly sunny for the rest of the day. 38 to 45 for highs. A nice day out tap.
Nice little Friday. Enjoy it while we can. Sun's slowly coming up. Looks nice. All right, Gary, thanks. Well, the big day has arrived. President Obama will touch down in Burlington in just a few hours. This is the first visit to the Green Mountain State as Commander-in-Chief. Kagan Harsha is joining us live from the UVM campus, where the president is set to speak later today. And as we promised, dark and early. Good morning, Kagan.
Good morning, Molly. As you said, it is pretty dark. It's still pretty cold, and there's not a lot of activity on at the University of Vermont at this hour. But catch there, Molly, as they weren't actually elected president yet. That was back in 1791, so I don't think that really counts, does it?
I don't think it does, Kagan, but you can't blame them for wanting to come here. We live in the most beautiful
That's right.
state.
Beautiful state.
Beautiful state.
That's right,
All right,
Molly.
Kagan, well, we're going to check back in with you a little bit later. Thank you. In other news, an armed standoff closed part of busy Route 7 in New Haven for 7 hours last night. Firefighters detoured traffic between Route 17 and Town Hill Road. Around 5:30 yesterday evening, police were called to a mobile home in the area for a report of an armed man holed up inside. More than 24 police responded to the scene. At one point, police say the man noticed our cameras and made some kind of threat. An officer said he was worried for our photographer's safety and told him, quote, "Get out of the line of fire." The man eventually surrendered to police. His name has not been released, but police say the man was drunk at the time. 2 people are in custody in Rutland this morning after police say they broke into the Midway Mobile on South Main Street. Police got the call just before 10 last night. The crooks made off with the entire cash register and the keys. Authorities tracked them down a short time later. We will have more details on this developing story as they come in. And Gary's here now with a quick look at what we're expecting for this fabulous Friday.
Yeah, it looks like the president is going to enjoy some nice sunny weather today, which he wouldn't have been able to do yesterday when those clouds hung tough. Right now, we're clearing out the skies here in the Champlain Valley. 29 degrees, our current temperature. Now, still a few clouds, a few flurries east of the Green Mountains this morning, then turning mostly sunny. High temperatures, 38 to 45. Half of the weekend looking pretty good, the other half not so great. Tell you all about it coming right up.
Welcome back. If you could get a look at this very official forecast Gary has in front of him, you might question it. I posted a picture of it on Facebook.
Data.
Someone called him the Weather King. So I would like to introduce Gary. I'm joined by Weather King Gary Sadowski with a look at today's forecast.
I'll have to get a crown, I guess.
We'll get you one from B-Dubs across the street.
There we go. Well, I don't know if I